I was called a misogynist for my take on Supergirl. Yes, I was called a misogynist. And I don't think my take was even that bad. Walking out of Supergirl, I gave it an 8 because my thought process exiting the theater was we can't hold everything to the same level as the last thing. This is a different movie, this is a different character, and I have to get out of the idea that Superman was this excellent masterpiece of a movie. I have to stop thinking like that. I have to think, oh, this is a new person, this is a new character. Get out of that mindset. I got out of that mindset, but was still like, it feels like I've seen this movie before. With James Gunn's take on Superman, it felt like this was a different Superman than Zack Snyder or whoever did Superman before. The first Superman was dark. This one was light. This was a new version. This was a new take on a character that's already loved. So it felt like that, you know? But with Supergirl, this is a first take and it felt like you guys could have done completely better, right? You did this character such a disservice and I just don't understand the direction you were going in. So the points that I made in the video, let me try to remember because I made them a long time ago, is that they switched her introduction, right? I believe from what I've read before that both Kal-El and Kara were sent off of Krypton at the same exact time. But Kara's ship hits like a meteor and sends her to the Phantom Zone. And then she comes down years later and then meets Clark when he's older. Right? Older, already established as Superman, and she has to get used to as a teenager or as a young adult that, you know, she has to become this super person and save people's lives. And that was not in the movie at all, right? Kal-El was sent off first, making him older than her, right? Sent off first, and then she was born later after the destruction of Krypton. And that just threw me through a loop in the beginning of the movie. That set my mind somewhere else. I'm like, this is not what I've read before. Maybe this is something that they're doing that's different. That was in another comic book that I hadn't read, but it just threw me off. I thought that was the consensus. I know that it can be different for anyone and any take on the story, but it just threw me off. I didn't like that part. Um Also, this movie had no stakes. That's how it felt to me. It had zero stakes, right? So, of course, this is spoilers. So basically, her dog Crypto is shot with like a poison something, and then they have to get something for Crypto to help Crypto out and make sure he's good. And they have like 2 days to do so. And my entire problem is that you're Supergirl. You can fly, shoot lasers. You have frost breath, whatever you have. You have all these abilities and powers, and you can't snatch this antidote off of this man's hands. He's just a guy. At the end of the day, he's just a guy, right? Maybe I'm having the wrong take. Maybe he was stronger than I saw on the screen, but he looked weak, like weak sauce to me. I'm not gonna hold you. He looked weak. He looked like Ruthie, the character who wanted help. It looked like she could beat him 100%. And then what also got to me why this movie had zero stakes is that they went on a planet with green and yellow sun. So Kara, she's in the green sun the whole time. The whole time. And doesn't like die or anything. She's fine. But she waits for the yellow sun to rise and then it's all better. Suddenly, all good, all better. And I'm just sitting there like, what? Like, what is the point of this? Why not just go to a planet where it's only green sun? Why do you need green and yellow sun? It feels dumb. Like, what are we doing? It feels like there's no stakes. It feels like she was just meant to be okay and get it done. And then my final issue with the movie itself is the ending, right? You're swearing to Ruthie this entire time that she doesn't need to do it and it's going to change her life for the worst if she ends up ending this man's life. If she ends up taking a life, she will never change and it will only go down from there. But then you take him out yourself. What a selfish decision. I'm not gonna hold you. That was selfish, and it wasn't selfless. To me, it might have been in the writer's mind that she was taking the responsibility from Ruthie and taking it into her own hands. But like, if you're just gonna do it because he got your dog, why can't she do it because he got her whole family? Like, what are we doing? That is the most hypocritical crap I have ever seen, heard, or thought of in my life. But that was my final problem. That was all I said in that video. And it's not that I hated Supergirl. I thought it was a good movie. It could have been better. That's my thought. It could have been better. And my rating changed from an 8 to a 6. Because they did her character dirty. It's not my fault. I think they did her character dirty. It should have been better. They should have done it better. And they should have cared about Supergirl. They should have cared about Kara. They should have cared about her character. But it clearly shows that they didn't. And to me, personally, that's not okay. So next time we see Supergirl, we need to flesh out her character. And honestly, just do better. She deserves better. But that's the end of the video. Do you think that what I said was misogynistic at all? I don't think what I said was misogynistic. That's basically what I said. You can go check the TikTok. Maybe they weren't talking to me, but that's how it felt. And I was like, no, I just really wanted this movie to be better for Kara. It's not like I'm a hater or want her to fail, her stories to fail. They shouldn't fail. We have a new regime at DC. None of this should fail. You shouldn't be dropping failures. You get what I mean? But again, this is the end of the video. Please go ahead and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Have an amazing day. I have 2 more videos just like this one where I'm yapping for a long period of time. So go ahead and check those out. Thank you so much. Bye.